Welcome back to another episode where we explore not just how to learn English, but how to learn it in a way that works with your mind, not against it. I'm Noah.
And I'm Maya. And today, we're diving into something that doesn't get talked about enough: the powerful connection between sleep, stress, and your ability to learn a new language.
Most learners focus on vocabulary lists, grammar rules, and speaking practice, and those are important. But what if I told you that the amount of sleep you get and the way you manage stress could actually make or break your progress in English?
It's true. Your brain is not a machine. It needs rest. And when you're tired, overwhelmed, or anxious, it's much harder to retain new information, let alone use it confidently in conversation. That's because sleep and stress directly affect memory, concentration, and emotional regulation.
Let's start with sleep. When you sleep, your brain doesn't just shut off, it processes and stores everything you learned during the day. Especially when you're learning something new like English, your brain needs deep sleep to move that information from short-term to long-term memory.
That's why if you stay up all night trying to memorize words, you might actually remember less the next day. Crazy, right? But science backs it up. Good quality sleep helps you consolidate language skills like vocabulary, pronunciation, and even grammar structures.
And here's the kicker: the more stressed you are, the worse you sleep. And the less you sleep, the more stressed you become. It's a cycle. So if you're wondering why you keep forgetting words or freezing when you speak, it might not be your English ability. It might just be your body asking for rest.
Exactly. High stress levels trigger cortisol, the stress hormone, which interferes with learning and memory. It can also make you more self-critical and impatient with yourself. That's why when you're tired and frustrated, even simple sentences feel hard.
So what can you do? First, prioritize sleep like it's part of your English routine. Because it is. Treat sleep as part of your study strategy. A well-rested brain is more alert, focused, and creative, everything you need for communication.
And second, pay attention to your stress. Instead of pushing through fatigue, take breaks. Practice mindfulness, deep breathing, or even short walks. These aren't wasted time. They actually help your brain recharge, so you can learn better.
And it's okay to slow down when you're feeling overwhelmed. Rest doesn't mean you're quitting. It means you're preparing yourself to come back stronger, more focused, and more confident.
Learning a language isn't just about mental effort, it's about taking care of your whole self. Your body, your emotions, your energy. Because when you feel calm and rested, your English flows more naturally.
And that's the magic most learners overlook. It's not just about how hard you study, it's about how well you care for yourself while you study. You could have the best teacher, the best books, and even the best motivation in the world, but if your mind is running on empty, your learning will always feel like an uphill battle.
Think about a time when you tried to speak English, but you were exhausted or mentally drained. How did it go? You probably found yourself struggling to remember simple words, or maybe you didn't even try, because your energy just wasn't there. That's not because your English is bad, it's because your brain wasn't in the right state to perform.
And we're not just talking about sleep as a number. Sure, getting 7 or 8 hours is great, but quality matters just as much. Are you waking up refreshed? Are you going to bed with a calm mind? If you're scrolling through your phone or thinking about everything you didn't study right before bed, your brain never really gets the deep rest it needs.
Try building an evening routine that supports both your body and your English. Maybe that means writing a short journal entry in English before bed, not for perfection, just to reflect. Or listening to a calming English podcast or bedtime story that helps you relax. You'll be learning and resting at the same time.
Another idea: create a short, wind-down ritual in English. It could be something simple like 3 sentences. Today I did my best. I am still learning. Tomorrow, I will try again. Say it to yourself slowly. Breathe with it. Make your brain associate English with peace, not pressure.
That's so important. Because for many learners, English becomes a source of stress, something they feel guilty about, like I should be better, or I'm not doing enough. But when you bring stress into your study space, it clouds your thinking. You lose your creativity and your confidence.
But here's the cool thing, English can also be a tool against stress. When you shift your mindset, English becomes a safe space, a way to express yourself, escape, grow, and even calm your mind. It's not just a subject. It can be your personal retreat, your emotional outlet, your quiet corner of peace.
That's why when you're tired, anxious, or feeling stuck, the answer isn't always study harder. Sometimes, the best thing you can do for your English is take a deep breath, close your eyes, and let your mind reset. You'll be amazed at how much better things flow after that.
So if you're in a phase where English feels frustrating or overwhelming, ask yourself, not just what you're learning, but how you're feeling while you're learning. Are you rested? Are you mentally present? Or are you fighting through fatigue and frustration?
Because the truth is, a peaceful mind learns faster. A rested mind remembers more. A calm mind speaks more clearly. And when you align your English learning with your mental well-being, you unlock progress that feels good, not forced.
And that's the kind of learning that lasts. When your study routine supports your nervous system instead of stressing it out, you're no longer just memorizing English, you're actually integrating it into your identity. It becomes part of your rhythm, not a weight you carry.
Exactly. And that's where true fluency starts, not in pressure, but in presence. When you're mentally present, not rushing or judging yourself, you start to notice more. The way words feel, how sentences flow, what your instincts tell you in a conversation. It's subtle, but powerful.
Sometimes people think calm learning is slow learning. But in reality, it's the opposite. When you're calm, your brain processes faster. It stores information more efficiently. You may be doing less, technically, but you're absorbing more, and that's what really counts.
So if your English journey has been full of stress, tight deadlines, and self-criticism, maybe it's time for a different kind of routine. One that includes breaks. One that honors your sleep. One that makes space for joy, curiosity, and recovery.
And that might look different for everyone. For one person, it's 30 minutes of vocabulary review followed by meditation. For another, it's writing creative stories in a quiet cafe. For someone else, it's learning just one phrase a day with intention and peace of mind.
There's no one-size-fits-all. But the common thread is emotional safety. If your study routine makes you feel safe, supported, and in control, then your confidence will grow naturally. You won't have to force it.
And we'll say this over and over again, progress in English doesn't mean you never feel stuck. It means you learn how to rest and return when you do feel stuck. And every time you do, you're proving to yourself that you can keep going, even gently.
So next time you're planning your study schedule, don't just write down grammar points or vocabulary goals. Also write down, I will go to bed early. I will stretch. I will forgive myself for mistakes. These things matter just as much as anything else.
And the amazing thing is, once you feel that inner calm, it starts to show in your English. Your voice gets steadier. Your words come out more easily. Your personality starts to shine through. Not because you know more, but because your mind feels safe enough to share it.
It's interesting, isn't it? When your brain is relaxed, your memory actually improves. You start recalling words without effort. You stop second-guessing yourself before every sentence. Suddenly, what used to feel like a mental block becomes just a passing moment you can breathe through.
Right, and those moments of flow, when you're just talking without analyzing every syllable, those are signs that you're becoming comfortable in the language. And comfort is something we build by being kind to ourselves, not by pushing harder every day.
Sometimes learners think, if I'm not stressed, I'm not doing enough. But the truth is, the brain doesn't thrive under constant stress. In fact, chronic stress can slow down your language development. It can make it harder to retain vocabulary, follow conversations, or even enjoy English content.
That's where lifestyle really plays a role. Things like how much sleep you're getting, what you eat, whether you move your body, those aren't just side factors. They are directly connected to how well your brain processes and stores new information.
Think about the last time you had a great night's sleep. Chances are, the next day you felt more focused, more emotionally balanced, more confident. And if you studied English in that state, it probably felt easier and more enjoyable.
Exactly. On the other hand, when we're exhausted or overwhelmed, even simple tasks feel like mountains. You could read the same sentence 5 times and not understand it, not because you're not smart, but because your brain is in survival mode, not learning mode.
And this is why a healthy study routine is about more than study techniques. It's also about emotional regulation. About taking care of your nervous system. About knowing when to push forward and when to pause. And giving yourself full permission to pause without guilt.
Because here's the reality, peace helps you progress. Calm helps you concentrate. And the more you create an environment of calm, not just outside you, but inside you, the faster and more joyfully you'll grow.
And when your mind feels safe, you're more willing to take language risks. To speak up, even if you're unsure. To make mistakes, laugh at them, and try again. That's where real fluency comes from, not just from drills and flashcards, but from the courage to keep going with self-compassion.
Yeah, and something else we often overlook is how our emotional state becomes part of our memory. If you're always studying English while feeling anxious, your brain can start associating the language itself with stress. But if you create calm, enjoyable experiences while learning, like watching a funny show in English, journaling while listening to soft music, or studying in a cozy spot, your brain links English to those positive emotions.
That's such a powerful idea. We're not just learning English as a skill, we're creating an emotional connection with it. If that connection is filled with pressure and self-criticism, we resist it without even realizing. But if it's based on peace, excitement, curiosity, that's when we fall in love with learning. And love is a much better long-term motivator than guilt or fear.
And here's the thing, your pace is not a problem. Slow progress is still progress. You're not in a race. No one's handing out trophies for who becomes fluent the fastest. But your mental health, that's something worth protecting every step of the way. Because if you lose your joy and peace while learning, what's the point?
Exactly. If we don't take care of our minds, we lose the very part of ourselves that makes learning meaningful. And the truth is, no lesson, no app, no grammar book is more important than your well-being. Your calm brain will always learn better than your tired, anxious one. Always.
So maybe today is the day you say, I don't have to be perfect. I just have to be present. I just have to show up, breathe, and take one small step with kindness. That's how confidence builds. That's how mastery begins. Not through pressure, but through patience.
That's such a beautiful reminder, Noah. Maybe it's time we all gave ourselves a little more grace in this journey. Because learning English isn't just about understanding a language, it's about understanding ourselves. Our limits, our resilience, our curiosity, and most of all, our capacity to grow even when things feel slow or hard.
Absolutely. So if you've been feeling tired, stuck, or mentally overwhelmed, we want you to know, it's okay. You're not alone. And you don't have to push harder, you just need to take care of yourself as you keep going. Because a healthy mind is the most powerful tool you have in this learning process.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. We hope this episode reminded you that taking care of your mental health is not a distraction from learning English. It's actually the foundation of your success.
And remember, you're doing better than you think. So take a deep breath, rest when you need to, and keep walking your path with kindness. We believe in you.
Until next time, stay patient, stay peaceful, and never forget, you're growing, even on the quiet days.
Take care, and we'll see you in the next episode.